Hey, it is Mark Patrick, and I got a really, really, really special guest here for you today. Harry is with me, and Harry has an incredible story to share of overcoming some adversity when it comes to stopping smoking. So I don't want to waste any time. Put all your things aside. Please listen to the words out of this gentleman's mouth. I think it'd be really inspiring to you to be able to change your life, especially if you're struggling with smoking. So, Harry, man, thanks for coming on with me here today. Why don't you share with everybody a little bit of your backstory, where you're from, everything to do with smoking, maybe even how you got started with this thing, if you can recall back 100 years ago, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Mark. So, yeah, I started smoking when I was like 12. I think, a couple friends of ours in the woods, someone stole someone's parents' pack of cigarettes type of thing. But I've smoked 2 packs a day from the age of like 19, 20 till I was like 46.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried over the years to cut down. My kids try to get me to, like do the e-cigarette and everything else, and been there, tried that. My wife smoked very little, but not much. I think she smoked by like association. She was just like, I smoked.
Yeah.
She just kind of would like join in at times, but yeah, I mean, I struggled with quitting, and I always kind of was like, oh, my mom never raised a quitter, but like I got to a point where I'm like, I have to quit smoking. I need to. I watched both my kids grow up and didn't smoke, but they were on their e-cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
They got on the Juuls and the vapes and stuff like that. And last year I was like, guys, we gotta quit. We gotta quit this. So we signed up for your seminar in Peterborough, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Keene, New Hampshire. And so all 4 of us went. And to be honest with you, all 4 of us quit. Still to this day.
That is an incredible thing.
For me, it was the biggest thing. I was starting to get some health things that I was going through that I'm like, I got to quit. I have to quit. And on my paperwork, still to this day, that you guys hand out at your seminars, it just says, it's time. That's what I wrote down. I said, it's time to quit. And I did. Now, I miss smoking. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually chewing on a straw.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good replacement. When you replace a behavior with a better behavior, you're 76% more effective at following through. So, little things like that oral fixation, these things will, surpass for the most part. You won't even need the straw, or if you do, it's not that bad of a behavior to replace.
So I think the straw is just by habit now, because
Mm-hmm.
I drink iced coffees and I chew the straw at the end. But it was the fact that when we were at the seminar, he said that it was 2,500 times a day I would go to my face. That was the fixation that I'd have to get
Mm-hmm.
over. And believe it or not, I didn't think about it then, but after a while I was like, wow. I'm like, I can't believe like that was the fixation. That was very hard to get over. So kind of knew I'd gained some weight from it,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. And then that's when my wife and I signed up for the weight loss program in Manchester, New Hampshire, and jumped in that. So, it's been, I feel great. I feel awesome. I've packed on a little bit of weight, but I take that over the smoking at the moment, to be honest with you. It was just nice we've traveled more, and it's now I don't have to like stress about like, oh, having a cigarette before you go in the airport, having a cigarette when you come out of the airport. And the smell, I can't get over now. The smell of not smoking like changes everything for me. It opened up so much more. Eating different stuff too now, like it just has a different taste.
Yeah, your taste buds come back to, what are called normal at this point.
Right.
So let me ask you a couple of questions. How, I don't know if there is I know as a parent, if a child picks up a behavior that is not our healthiest behavior, we can really struggle with that internally and feel somewhat responsible for that.
Yes.
How good was it for you to know that you know, what you all did together, that they may not go through the struggles that you're going through with this now that you all did this as a family. What kind of feeling was that?
So it was, it felt like a huge accomplishment
Hmm.
after like a month, because it was kind of like I didn't want to overthink it. I didn't
Hmm.
want to make more of what it is. I didn't want to bring it up to them. I just let them go, and like all of a sudden it's like, hey, how you guys doing? And they're like, oh yeah, we haven't smoked or jeweled or anything like that. And what I found from my girls was their vaping was more addicting because it doesn't shut off.
It's a faster transport into the bloodstream through those things. It's the biggest, um, for lack
It's
of a word, it's the biggest travesty of this next generation. This was why these jewels got, total and deep duty with everything, because of what they were doing. I mean, they literally took what? I don't, how old are you, Harry? One more time.
47.
Okay, so I just turned 58. My generation was a different generation. They grew up
Yep.
very naive, but what they did with the marketing tactics with Juul today, I mean, literally these people should be locked the hell up for what they went out there and did. What do you all think you were spending on cigarettes and Juuls a month? How much do you think we took away from the bad guys?
Wow. So, funny story. I had a worker sitting in the back seat of my truck one day and sat there and goes, "Hey, do you know you spend like 12,000 a year in coffee and cigarettes?" And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't even like dawn on me, and I was like, "What?" And I don't know. We probably took, family wise, literally probably like $25,000.
Yeah,
Literally, like
it's
probably,
crazy.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, in New Hampshire, cigarettes are $8-9 a pack. Massachusetts, they're 12 to 15. I've seen stuff $15-16 a pack, like in New York and stuff like
I,
that. Or
I just did a content video on the cost top 10 cities, and New York City was 18.99 a pack or something
oh,
like that.
really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's just crazy. It's all the big cities where they're charging massive amounts of money. But so, what do you think about this? I mean, how about taking some of the next 5 6 months of cigarette money, put that aside, and use that for a family vacay? I mean, how cool would that be? Something like that.
So the wife and I just, yeah, we actually did travel to Jamaica recently, for
Nice.
our 25th anniversary. And then a month ago, we went to Aruba. And it was nice to not have to smoke, to be honest with you. It was
Yeah.
an extra thing that I think the stress of traveling too sometimes can be stressful. So that added stress over the years, I would just can't wait to have a cigarette, get outside, smoke a cigarette. And I looked at the people that were doing that and I kind of chuckled, and I didn't laugh at them. I just laughed because I was like, I was that guy. I did that.
When you have that bird eye view of the behavior that you once had, the first thing you most likely do is, what the hell was I thinking? But that's the normal thing, because what you've done is you've basically flipped the switch to that of a identity of a non-smoker, and non-smokers look at smoking as like, what the hell are they even doing there, for the most part, and that's phenomenal. So let me ask you another question here, is this: what would you say to somebody that is watching this and maybe is skeptical about becoming a non-smoker, or non-vapor, or whatever it is, whether they were to come and attend our program or to try it one more time after failed attempts? Because most smokers try numerous times, and the brain wants to protect you from a failed attempt again, because that's a painful association. Brain goes towards pleasure and avoids perceived pain. What words of wisdom would you give somebody who's on the fence right now, whether they came to our seminar, they went out there and did it on their own? What would you tell them?
Um, that it can happen, and you have to believe, you have to want to quit too. That is one of the biggest things, is you really have to deep down inside want to quit. I know my wife and my kids, when we went, we wanted to quit.
Mhm.
So that was the want, is, I think, outweighs a lot of the challenges that it has. Um that fixation of having a cigarette and like, and you know, for me, it was my best friend for 30 plus years. Like that was
Yeah.
hard for me to get over. That was a big thing. That was, I smoked. That was my buddy. I'd get in my truck, I'd smoke. I want to think I smoked, but now I'm able to apply myself a little bit more and be more productive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, the thing on the whole best friend thing, that's a false narrative we've kind of told ourselves because we've told ourselves that smoking relaxes us. It really is a mild drug that does help on the central nervous system, give you energy and then calm you down. But for the most part, it's the deep breathing that goes along with that. It's the mental break that goes along with smoking is really where the relaxation tends to come in. So these are stories. The story is more important than the actual experience itself. Because if you tell your brain a lie loud enough, long enough, just
yes.
like the cigarette manufacturers have told us that, alive with pleasure, all these sayings that they associated towards smoking there. But that is absolutely just a wonderful story, man. And, you said it, the nail on the head is you got to have a why or a want to. So, and, there's three ways you change a habit. You do it consciously through immersion. You just grind it out. If you don't
Yep.
have any emotional leverage, so it sounded like you all had kind of emotional leverage. You had kind of reasons. It was time. The health was, uh, triggering in. And I always say, a person who comes to our seminar who walks on our door, they're already 90% across the finish line. If all they do is just listen to the basic information we're going to teach them, we're going to get them across the finish line. So
Yep.
making the commitment to just get there, it would be the most important thing. And would you agree with me on that? Just get to the seminar if you're going to attend our thing and just have a why, and we'll take care of the rest.
100%. Going to your, going to your seminar. I mean, the commitment alone for it, for me was, the four of us going, so we all went. It
Hmm.
was a family ordeal. But you know, I felt it was time for myself to do that. Like that's what I needed. I
Yeah.
needed that. My family probably just followed suit with me. I can't speak for them, but
Hmm.
I know that for myself, it was time for me to quit. I mean, I smoked 2 packs a day for 20 plus years, like almost 30 years. I mean, that's a lot. Um, but you can do it. You just got to believe in yourself and do it. That's what I did. And, not looking back.
A phenomenal story. So, any last words for anybody thinking about coming to a Mark Patrick seminar?
Just do it. That's it. Commit to it and do it. And believe in yourself that you can do it. That's all it takes.
It really
So
is all it takes. Yeah, if they want to do that, great. We'll be happy to service them. Harry, man, I can't thank you enough for giving us the opportunity to serve you and your family, man. After doing this thing for almost 30 years, these are the things that give me my high in life to talk to amazing people like you that have changed their lives. It's a team aspect. I will never say that we're going to go out there and do this thing without somebody. You can't hypnotize somebody who doesn't want to change their life. But if you
I
get a
was
person like
skeptical.
yourself, yep. If you get a person like yourself that wants to do this thing, man, the sky is the limit. So I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your family changes here. And we look forward to adding a whole bunch of years to your life, hopefully healthy years. And keep spending that money on family vacays, man. Screw the cigarette companies.
Uh,
Thanks, man, for participating.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye
All right.
now.